Uh, we, had some feedback from, people regarding the session that I gave on buying through BSC Scan. And a lot of that kind of drove out into some kind of more high level conversation to walk people through how to actually, track and read through transactions on BSC Scan a little bit more effectively so they can actually start using the tool. What I'd actually love for even just our own community members, it would be, I think maybe one of the next sessions I'll do around BSC Scan is maybe actually walk people through how to do high level non-programmer based contract auditing, so that people can start getting understanding of how they can go about doing their own self-evaluation of contracts, and for the purpose of even vetting them for their own personal investments. And and again, I think there's a lot of benefit that can kind of come from understanding how that whole process works. So yeah, lots of ideas, lots of things to do. There's so many tooling and tips and tricks and tooling discussions that could be had in terms of just understanding how to use kind of tooling to facilitate the crypto trading experience a little bit more, to make it a lot more efficient and kind of effortless. So yeah, I'll be trying to put some thought into some ways to kind of break it down so it doesn't get kind of too much too soon. So we have community members that are breaking off and launching their own projects. I won't call them out right now, but I think it's super cool to see, people from our community breaking off and, and kind of launching what I hope will be very successful projects for themselves. And I'm sure that without calling them out directly right now, we will most definitely be getting the these projects to come in and give pitches to the broader community when they're ready. So in the meantime, I personally am cheering them on, and I know the Ignite community as a whole is also. So it's very cool to see. What else can I share that's not Move Group specific? So one of the things that and I'm trying to temper it as best as I can in terms of being able to kind of maintain the focus, and I don't want to distract people. But when you hear me, and this is just me speaking personally now in terms of because I mentioned that I'm going to be doing a lot of my own trades going forward fully in the Ignite fund. And that's because I want, even for myself, for my own personal trades, I want the sell actions to be able to start building the charity wallet and the base. When I'm going to be creating move groups for any move that I do personally, and we already are almost there. We're already going to quickly get to the point where people have to fight the FOMO effect of feeling like they have to participate in every single move that's in play. It's not going to be practical. It's got the counter effect, right? At one point in time, and the team and I have actually talked about this, right? At one point in time, the ideal scenario is the fund base is big enough that people are just throwing in small amounts on top of a move just to participate in a payout structure, and it doesn't cost them much of anything to actually participate in as many moves as are going on. Right, that can really only happen when the fund base is actually built up to levels that don't necessitate massive external funding. So, so in the meantime, for me to model that, first and foremost is bringing in all my trades to do inside the fund. So when I create a move group and I say, hey guys, we should move on this, because I've done this a couple of times now where I've said, hey, there's a play that I'm thinking that's a long-term play. And when I say long-term, like the one that I haven't mentioned yet, and I won't share the token yet, but I will in the next week or two, because I was calling it Move 5. To me, it's on the same level as basically getting in early on something like Axie Infinity, right? And I always use this as the example, and it's not in the kind of like meme coin moonshot category. It's like kind of, very fundamental game changing tech category. And, if you get in early, like, the $500,000 in Axie at the beginning of last year would have been 175 million around the August timeframe. So, it's a longer hold than what we're currently targeting. But the reality is, most of these things are things that I've been looking at even pre-Ignite, pre-Ignite going public. So I would be moving on them anyway. So when I put these calls out, there's no expectation for people to jump into these move pots with me, but there's no reason for me not to publicize that I'm taking these positions, right? So I don't want anyone sitting there feeling like they panicking to get into these things. Or JP's talking about another move, and like don't fall into that pattern. There's going to be plenty of moves. At the end of the day, the best moves to participate in are the ones that kind of resonate with the goals you're trying to achieve in any given moment, and and kind of use your own discretion and judgment as you kind of jump into, from move to move. So yeah, we've technically got a whole bunch in play right now. The bot, right? We are in the and we're getting close. In terms of we know that we're going to be able to move successfully on the launches that we're targeting over the next couple of weeks with the bot as it is. We're literally playing a gas price tweaking game. So to put things in context, and I can share this at this level without any concern. We thought we were being fairly generous with our gas fees for our bot buys, and we've identified based on the snipe that we did yesterday. We did successfully snipe, but we were competing against bots that were paying upwards $100 or more just for their gas fees, just to get in quicker. So that's basically the game we're playing now, is trying to come up with a kind of deterministic way for us to identify what the optimal gas fee entry point is for us to get in at the earliest possible point in the liquidity, in the post liquidity ad blocks. So it's a little bit of trial and error, and the reality is, we have already kind of started crunching the numbers, and for us to even pay $200 on gas fees per wallet that buys to walk away with a minimum 4x to 6x return is nothing in the grand scheme of things. So we just don't want to throw that money away in the bot pot yet, but we are going to have the next couple of snipe buys on the bot be heavy on the gas side, just so we can see how much earlier it allows us to get into the get close to the floor price on. What else? Questions? Maybe I should just open up for questions. This should be more questions than me speaking. So if people have got questions, please feel free to come up and fire away. All right, MK, I'll bring you up. How you doing?
How you doing? Just quick, the Move 2 window is reopened for everybody to add more to their bag if they're already in there?
People, yeah, actually, it goes further than that. People have been re-adding, and we've actually had net new buyers come in as well.
And when is that open until?
It's actually open until the 3rd, so Thursday, at 12 p.m. MST.
Thank you. Is that
Yeah.
the same time that Move 4 is open till?
Yeah, it's the same time. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to get more into 2 as well as 4.
You and a
Thank
whole
you.
bunch of other people. Actually, so remember, and I don't want this to. So we're actually going to be giving a presentation to the Move 4 Move group specifically on Thursday when the window closes. Without kind of going crazy with it, I would suggest probably put more in your Move 2 pot over your Move 4 pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other question I had, you had mentioned in a previous conversation something about pooling whitelists if we get them. I unfortunately did not get a whitelist for Reflex. I'm still hopeful, but if that does come to pass, what's the procedure and how does that work if we want to throw our whitelists into the group?
Yeah. So what I had originally suggested, and again, this is one of those things that will, when it comes to kind of numbers, and we'll actually take this to a community vote level, not even an individual move group level, because it's kind of a higher overarching decision. But what my initial thought was is, for people that offer up their whitelists for the bot to basically try to snipe by a pre-sale, any of the wallets that actually land, because again, remember, the bot's going to be buying across multiple wallets with every single whitelist address that it has. Not all of them are going to get in, right? So the ones that actually get in, what we'd actually be asking for is, we'd be asking for Ignite to be able to keep 10% of the pre-sale tokens, and then have that be the base for the move group tokens itself. So so basically, the individual who's giving up their whitelist spot gets to keep 90% of the tokens, and we just put that 10% straight into the base for the move pot itself. So in my mind, it seems like a very kind of fair trade, especially if it increases the probability that somebody could actually get their whitelist spot fully exercised. But again, the numbers and the percentages are something that we want to, kind of open up to the community in terms of, in terms of how that actually works. So we'll take that to a vote in terms of, seeing what the consensus is for people being okay with what they're willing to give up back to the move group.
Sounds fair. I think I would like to do that if I get the opportunity. And I
Yeah.
thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate the question. Craig. Craig, you got any questions?
Oh, I'm sorry, JP. I had myself muted.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, all good.
How I never really read through it, but how long are we staying in move one? Did we commit to 3 months
So
or?
so here's the thing, and again, like, we've been obviously having conversations about this behind the scenes, for a core team, and even like, and again, everyone at this point who's part of move one knows, where I'm coming from an integrity play perspective. But one thing that we will have a follow-up conversation, like we've got a line, like we've got an actual number that is basically the lowest that number can go to, where we're not actually at least breaking even anymore. And
Okay.
because we have to account for the exit tax, right? So
Yeah.
there's a number that we already know, right? We already know what the price point is, where we can't basically go below that. And really, when we're within 20% of that point, we like, and so be all end all, the commitment for us to hold, even on a verbal kind of conversation that didn't apply to our group, there also were some unspoken assumptions about performance of the token itself, right? So we need to be able to, if and when the time comes, potentially go back to HODL for Gold and say, look, we actually have a responsibility first and foremost to our investors, and they were patient enough to stand behind me in this decision, but we can't be in a position where they're walking away with at least not their initials on this play.
Okay. That's what I was hoping, that there was something at least in place that we're gonna get our stuff back at least.
Yeah, we're not the team is honestly, like, it's, yeah, keep in mind, all of us who are part of move one have had to watch that pot go from 104,000 down to what it is right now. And that's like, again, even though people are like, oh, that can't bother JP, it doesn't from the perspective that people are thinking. But the reality is, we do have, we absolutely do have, right now we're at 25% profit after sell tax and ITF, and fees for everyone to walk away with, and that's at the current price point. Right now, there has been a slight upward trajectory, in the last couple of days, but we are, and the reason that I post the bag value daily, is so that everyone is being kept fully informed as to what's actually going on with that bag. So no, don't think that we're sitting here thinking that we'd be okay just watching that dwindle to below what our initials are, because that would be fully a fail on our part to, at bare minimum, initiate that conversation and say, look, this is not me breaking my word. We can't do something that you as a company didn't perform on your end, and that can't be something that actually penalizes our investors.
Thanks for the clarification.
Okay. So again, everyone has to understand that, when it comes to that, like the reason that we did this in the first place was, for the integrity play that I chose to make, which cost us as a unit, a move group for sure. But no, I'm not okay with us walking away without our, even without just our initials in the worst case scenario. Yeah, we will be having those conversations if and when the time comes. Right. In the best case scenario, it just keeps going up. It stays or goes above where it is right now, over the next, month or two. And that would be the ideal scenario. But if we start getting close to that point where we're not, we're getting dangerously close to just walking away with just our initials, we'll be having conversations far before that point happens. So that's for everyone who's in Move Group 1, understanding that. Beckerson is asking if we have enough launches lined up to continue testing the bot. There is actually, there's one tomorrow called Crypto Games. I don't know. So there's enough. But we can always use more. And the reality is the bot is going to keep, that whole bot pot will keep going. On any launch that looks promising, even past the point of testing, because there's no reason to not just have that pot keep growing for the people that participate in the move. And, we can take a vote at the time that bot is actually fully sitting profitable, to decide when everyone gets their sell down, in terms of, right. So far we've had a couple of losses, one win. We did one yesterday. We got in, we snipe bought it. The mechanics worked perfect, but it was another terrible launch, and we were fully competing against bots at launch. So we got in a relatively high floor price in relation to the other bots earlier than other regular buyers. So there's still kind of tweaking and testing to be done in terms of just hitting that floor price as low as possible. And we know that at this point, it's strictly going to be a matter of, so what we've actually been doing, and starting today, we went back and we're basically combing through the data for the launches that we've actually went on with the bot for the last couple of moves. And we're basically trying to find the average min-max gas prices that were outside of the standard regular, medium, and fast gas prices that were used, and that's going to be essentially our baseline that we use to identify what our starting point is for paying gas fees higher to get in earlier. So yes, launches, the radar. The radar itself is there. The simpler radar for actually having the bot target those things, and but again, I've got to be careful. I've got, even with what I just said about Move 1, this level of AMA, I got to kind of try to keep things kind of more general in terms of focus, because, so even what I shared about Move 1 and Move 3 being the bot, we kind of need to keep those conversations completely isolated to the move groups themselves, just for the sake of giving those groups or allowing those groups to kind of maintain their competitive edge. So, these community AMAs, anyone can just drop in, even if they're not in the move pot. So I want to just make sure that we're not, compromising the strategy that those groups have kind of agreed on. So, anyone else got any questions? Some chat. Let me see if anyone's asking something in the chat. No, Baxter said you're fine. No, you're totally fine. It's a totally legit question, so I'm happy to answer it. I myself keep forgetting that I have to kind of keep some of these conversations kind of isolated to the move groups themselves. So I'm getting prodded in the background as well. Don't worry. Yeah, I think. So outside of that, and here's what I'm going to suggest, right? And again, I know I keep saying it, and I've been saying it in chats, and I want to make sure that I kind of re-stress the point that people are not feeling, people are not feeling pressured by me at all to do all their moves inside of ITF. But there are benefits to, there are benefits in terms of, like the team itself, like for us to grow the fund and have that fund base be in place for moves themselves, is actually a benefit to anyone who's actually jumping on a move, period, because it means that, if in the ideal scenario where the Ignite fund base is serving as the primary base position for the move, it allows more people to participate in moves with less funds in seasons where they're kind of have less to play with. So there are some good benefits to it. And again, we are, I won't even begin to kind of outline what's going on behind the scenes in terms of what's being worked on, but we're really excited about some of the stuff that we're building, and we're going to be able to start, over the next, month or so, start rolling out some of these things in front of the community. But again, we are heavily behind the scenes, very much aware that everyone is kind of all eyes on for, for the outcome of Move 2, Move 1 to some extent, but for the most part, a lot of people have kind of stopped thinking about that actively right now, and with all eyes being on Move 2. So we are excited. I'm excited just to have Move 2, take its positions and pay people out and focus on Move Next. So but again, the community has grown. We're almost at 300 members now, and it's not 300 active members every day. That would be but people are dropping in. There's a lot of great conversations happening. And and I think that the trust factor is continually being built up incrementally over time, which is great, because again, and I'm going to keep stealing his phrase because I love it so much. Justin said that our token is trust, and I 100% firmly believe that. And so we're going to keep doing everything as open, as transparent as we have been, and and I personally take it on to answer as many questions as come in, because at the end of the day, people are trusting us with, if nothing else, the visibility and management of the funds that they're allocating to us, and and we're relying on the community to work as a unit when it comes to move groups, and come to consensus and commit to a decision, and we are there to help execute that decision. So, questions? Anyone else with any questions? It's almost 6:30. I did say that I don't want to keep anyone, longer than they absolutely had to, because we were here last night for the Reflex Finance. What I will suggest is, because we're, and this will happen post close down of Move 2, start looking the radar, right? The full-blown radar, not the bot training radar, but the full-blown radar. That's the ones that we will, as a community, be going in on with the larger pots. Right? Most of the ones the bot has traded on with, like for the bot to lose $300 on a trade, even as an R&D move, is not the end of the world. Right? But the level of diligence and research that we need to do to go into the bigger moves, right? Whether it be HODL for Gold, Reflex, or so on and so forth. We need to be, scouting those opportunities out as well, because there's plenty coming down the pipe, and we're looking for people to take the time to say, hey, we should think about moving on this as a community. one of the things all of us have seen at this point is for this community to come together and put a pot together relatively quickly is not that difficult. You know, it was within, I mean, literally within 1 hour of the GTR move proposal, you know, it was literally 5 seconds for the first 1,000 BUSD. And I'm not kidding when I say 5 seconds. 5 seconds to the first 1,000. So, you know, this community can kind of move fast when it wants to move. And, you know, and I think that, you know, again, I'm praying not even for anything selfish at all, because I really want to see everyone win big from the moves that are currently in play. And that will just, you know, Lord willing, give us the, you know, the fuel and kind of continued community engagement that will allow us to kind of move forward with the other moves as well. So, yeah, we're pretty excited, and, you know, we're excited for the potential for everyone who's in with us at this point. Okay, 3 more minutes. Anyone get any questions, concerns, statements, anything? Hold on, let me see if anyone's putting their hand up. Nothing. Wow, everyone's quiet today. That is surprising. I mean, everyone was quiet last night as well, but that's which is totally fine. Okay, all right. Well, if there's no questions, I will give everyone 3 minutes of their evening back and let everyone get on about their business. God bless everyone. Have a great night.